What's up, guys? Jake with TN Tactical. Another indoor quick little news update video for you. Not really so much a news video, it's kind of news, but it's also more of an opinion piece, more of a video essay, if you will. Today, I kind of want to talk about how I'm like sick of the gun industry because I feel like we have a serious lack of innovation going on. On top of that, it seems like right now, on top of the lack of innovation, it seems like right now, gun manufacturers are getting hit from all sides. And I'm not just talking about the Trump slump that's going on, the infamous Trump slump where sales go down. Let's get right into meta game. Probably around 2014, I really started honing in and seeing the trends that are happening. Back then, 2014, it was like everybody was all about piston ARs, those piston driven short stroke ARs instead of a gas impingement system. From there, there's a small gap of what I was observing, but later on, I started seeing trends where suddenly everybody wanted to get red dots and have RMR cut red dot patterns on their pistols, which is fine. I like that. We've seen other trends happen over the years where at one point everybody wanted to do a space cowboy lever action. It's all decked out, tactical. Then that's another time we saw all the gun manufacturers go about making 2011s. Like the 1911's not good enough, let's make a 2011. And our version of a 2011, a double stack 9mm that's overly priced. We've seen other trends like, let's make compensated, built-in ported compensated slides and barrels in some of our more common handguns. I'm thinking about the Glock 43X's, the plethora, whatever the word is, of SIGs that have come out with Compton ported barrels and slides. If we see these trends happen, it's like one company does it and suddenly they all do it. We saw it happen with Glock Gen 3 clones. Everybody started making their own version of a Gen 3 Glock clone. No, not really many people are doing that now, right? You see, it's kind of fallen off, and people are chasing the next trend, which seems to me right now to be PCCs, pistol caliber carbines. We've seen Daniel Defense even come out with their own PCC. We've seen, obviously, the ARV and AKV from PSA, but now they're coming out with their Saber lineup. We have that CZ3 Plus. We've got Strybog always coming out with a different version of it. But we're really, even now, Springfield Armory came out with the Kuna PCC. Companies are continually following the same pattern and the same trend. They are trying to take the safe bet to make sure they're going to get their money back on their investment on the research for these projects. The problem is most of our PCCs that we see companies are coming out with right now are like $1,000, whereas you can buy an AR-15, which is a set standard pattern, for like $400 or $500 on the cheap end. The difference being that every one of these PCCs has their own special proprietary mag. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm just going to say it. I freaking hate proprietary mags. Some companies will adopt CZ mags, like PSA again, for example, or Glock mags are very common. Great. But then we have every other manufacturer. Springfield Armory Cuda has their own proprietary mag. B&T has their own proprietary mag. CZ, of course, has their own proprietary mag, and sometimes they're adopted, but others, like the Kuna, for example, it's so new, you can't really find the magazines. And who's to say it's going to get adopted, especially where there's been issues with their magazines cracking and breaking. I've seen a few videos out there. Gear Know-How, good friend of the channel, actually put out a video of the problems he's had with his Springfield Armory Kuna. So I'll put a link here for you guys to check that out. And it's lack of innovation, and we deserve better than that as gun owners, don't you think? We need more innovation. Now, not all companies are stopping with their innovation. Not all companies are following those trends. Look at Kel-Tec. I know people like to make the jokes and the memes about Kel-Tec, but they've really been one of the few companies out there making new products that are different. Like they have that clip loading pistol. I forgot what it was called, but you know the one I'm talking about, where instead of using a magazine, you like load it from the top with an actual like stripper clip. That's weird. But hey, hats off to them for actually doing something different. We're not seeing a lot of innovation in the firearm space. And on top of that, like, I get it. It's because, especially right now, things are super slow. I've had insiders, people that actually are in the gun industry, tell me that the Trump slump is a real issue. It's a real thing. Companies across the board have seen their sales drop. Now, I know you and I are thinking to ourselves, well, gun manufacturers, they just freaking get, like, you know, pieces of metal and they get them all with their logos on them for lowers and uppers and all that, and who cares, you know? Then they upcharge it to us when they throw it together with some parts. I feel like there's an issue where some of these gun companies may have gotten a little bit over-bloated, especially in the Biden years and the Obama years, let's be honest. And now, after having Trump in that first term and Trump in the second term now, 4 years later, it's really put a squeeze on their bottom line. You know, they have a set number of costs. They have labor, which is always going to be a big cost factor for any business. And they're having to factor all these things in. They're scared. They're afraid of innovating because what if all that time and research and money they put into it, what if it fails? It's safer to just simply go with the flow and just do what everybody else is doing. So check this out. Few things going on. Anderson, let me switch here. Anderson has shut the door. Essentially, Anderson got bought by Ruger, which, by the way, I'm not a fan of Ruger. Sorry, but I don't like them. They should put more than one magazine in their gun cases. Anderson, you know, the poverty pony. 70 years in the business. They have closed their door. They've removed all their social medias. They have stopped collaborating with everyone that they've ever collaborated with. And they were just now getting ready to come out with mid-tier firearms. And my understanding is they were pretty good. They were actually running really well. And then this happened. They ended up selling to Ruger, and Ruger chose to close the doors, ending the entire Anderson lineup. So there's no more poverty pony. Now there's going to be, they've got like a Phoenix bird or something on Ruger. So maybe it's going to be the poor Phoenix or something. I don't know. Poverty Phoenix. That sounds good. But Anderson's gone. And that's crazy. You know, I never thought that would happen because they're so cheap with their lowers. And Anderson, not only do they make their lowers, you know, for themselves, but a lot of times, a lot of companies will reach out to Anderson, and Anderson will make lowers for them. So this is going to be a huge strain on companies altogether with finding parts, sourcing lowers, for example, and uppers, but, you know, lowers. It's not good. And that's going to mean more cost, higher bottom line, and more cost to the consumer. In the gun industry, in a time when people aren't up in arms trying to buy firearms, so it's not good. You can see here, if you're wondering whether Anderson lower parts will carry on under Ruger's branding, the answer is no. Ruger has confirmed that it does not plan to continue Anderson's product catalog or brand. So that sucks. Even they say here, they were one of the best AR lower producers out there on the market. It's a shame. On top of that, we've got this going on in New York. Gun makers lose appeal of New York law that could make them liable for shootings. So if you recall, this happens a few times over the years where essentially some kind of mass shooting happens and everybody gets up in arms and reacts immediately emotionally, and they try to sue the gun manufacturers. Of course, gun manufacturers are typically protected under law, you know, as long as they're not knowingly violating or trying to sell firearms to a prohibited individual, felonies and so on, then they're usually covered under the law. Well, this appeal, where somebody was trying to sue a gun manufacturer and they won, the gun manufacturer came back and tried to appeal it, and they lost. So now they are being held responsible for a shooting or mass shooting. A New York state law holding gun manufacturers potentially liable when their weapons are used in deadly shootings was upheld Thursday by a federal appeals court. So it's a state law. Federal appeals court upheld the state law. The law requires that gun industry to create reasonable controls to prevent unlawful possession, use, marketing, or sale of their products in New York, and allows them to be sued for unlawful acts that create or contribute to threats to public health or safety. New York Attorney General Letitia James is her name, said that the decision was a massive victory for public safety and the rule of law and will help to continue to fight the scourge of gun violence to keep our communities safe. I know how you feel. I feel the same way. So what does this mean for us in the gun industry as well? It means that if this gun manufacturer is being liable for a shooting, like it's their fault, that then gives precedent to other gun manufacturers in other areas, other states, also being held by these courts for being responsible for mass shootings, or maybe just not mass shootings, maybe just normal shootings too. What do you guys think about that? I mean, now they're putting the squeeze on gun manufacturers as well from a different political angle. It's not right. It's not right at all, obviously. But this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the Trump slump, so people are kind of more lax, not selling guns. We're dealing with a lack of innovation, again, because sales are so slow. These companies don't want to innovate. Those two are kind of like an Ouroboros snake. They kind of feed into one another. One leads into the other. As one increases, the other increases. The slower your sales, the less likely they're going to innovate. The less likely to innovate, the more you're going to have lackluster sales. That's a huge problem. But now on top of that, you've got the legal system trying to hold gun manufacturers responsible for dumbass individuals. I know people don't like Anderson. I thought Anderson was fine. Great for budget builds. Companies like them are having to shut the doors, and when there's less supply of manufacturers creating those parts for the industry like that, we all suffer. Things are not looking good for the gun industry, and I don't see anybody really talking about these different aspects. So I want to make this video for you to have this discussion because I think it's important. It's meaningful. So, yeah. What do you guys think? What's your opinion on this? I really like to know. If you enjoy this kind of content, again, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. I'm going to keep mixing in some more of these sort of like present event, current event news coverage videos. That might be more of an essay format like I'm doing here today. If you enjoy it, let me know. I'll do more of them. Love to hear from you. We will see you next time.